Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to A Trash Told You. Yeah, no music, no nothing, getting right down to business because, man, what a fucking day it has been. So to give you a little update of this was what happened earlier this week, got busy, lots of stuff going on. We've been busy with GV, got camping coming up, stuff like that, but, also as well, God, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so this will go out on Twitter. This will go to patrons. A big apology. It is partially my fault, but more so it also a man, God's will, a man-made event. Who, whatever you want to say. The Oppenheimer slash Barbie review. Barbenheimer is they are going to be dropping Monday, being recorded live on the Sundays. It's disappointing for me. Partially my fault, but like I said, partially not. It's like we got, like I said, this day, half of it was one of the worst fucking days ever for first world problems, like plans and everything's falling apart. Me and Kirkland, and luckily everyone's fine, everyone's good, stuff like that. Me and Kirkland on After Night, which will be happening next Saturday. I think it's going to be at 10 a.m. PST, so look out for that. It's going to be an earlier one. We got quite a story to share because what an adventure we went on today. So just because of delays and everything like that, with the reviews are going to be happening Monday now. It's disappointing that way. Want to get them out for the weekend, but it's just the way it all kind of shut down and stuff like that. So we'll get in that in the future. So look at those for Monday. So that's why I'm home now. I'm Kenergized, as the name goes down there at the YouTube side. Recording this very, very late. So I'm doing a bonus episode here, and I guess I make good for not doing one earlier this week. And also just a little something that, okay, hold you over the weekend. We will be dropping the double reviews. Don't worry, Monday it is coming. So we apologize, but it's going to be good. Patrons, get your reviews in. We like to send little paragraphs. We'll make a post Sunday and stuff like that. So, that's what happened. It's going to be a fun story to talk about, but what a day. And luckily, because we're not reviewing for a few days, I can get my minor thoughts. Fucking love them both, man. Go see Barbenheimer, whether you're seeing them back to back, whether you're seeing them separately, man, what a fucking night of cinema I just had. It's just why I love movies. And oh man, Barbie, we'll get into more in the review, but Barbie, man, it was like a theater experience. It was like Force Awakens, Endgame, No Way Home level. It was packed. 95% of the theater was in pink. People were like, I've seen more cosplay. Like, and I just wore a pink polo. I was like, man, I felt disappointed. Like people were walking in pink suits, pink hats, everything. I was like, man, I even underdressed for this, and I thought like that wasn't gonna happen. I thought some pink, but no, it was a full on thing. People are clapping and cheering at the logos, movie and clapping, and people know me now. I don't need the movie theaters to be so loud you can't hear the dialogue, but this was an engaged, having a fun, rocking good time. Had to sit in a row with a bunch of random, just like teenage, like probably just high school or middle school girls. Where I was like, oh man, like I feel so outnumbered, and it's gonna feel weird to just be like this one guy. Because again, we'll get into why I had to see it alone. But no, the theater was such a good vibe. It just felt like everyone had one have a good time. Didn't matter that I was just a solo person sitting here with this group of people. It was, man, and I can't promise that with everybody's thing. Go see Barbie. This is the event film this year, and I'm very excited to review it in a couple days. So look out for those. Everything you need to know is down below. So let's see. Tomorrow supposedly there will be a Loki trailer, according to someone at Comic Con. Who's the someone comic things? Thank you for letting me know. But I guess maybe they were planning on probably dropping it regardless before, right? When they're gonna go there, and now they're not. So. And yeah, we're going to talk about the Marvels. Again, we like a shorter one. We're going to talk Marvels. Going to talk about Aquaman 2 possibly being delayed along with Dune, and those Blue Beetle, yikes, box office projections. My goodness. So, Little Trash told you to hold you over. Everything you need to know is down below in the link. So let's start there. The Marvels, and I'm doing this because it used to be a newscast, but we don't have a newscast. It's such a weird random drop, but we don't have a newscast coming. I don't even know if we have one next week because we got some things to record. So maybe one next week, but if not, it's going to be 2 weeks from now. So that's why I'm like, okay, I'll talk about this. That was the extra push to talk about, do a Trash Told You. And like I said, energized right now, so good to go. Got it going on. Got the energy, got the flow, got the juice. So this dropped. It's coming out November 10th as of right now. Very random. I thought they still might wait till Secret Invasion was over, which it doesn't really matter because we all know Fury survived, so that's cool. It's fine. I didn't think he was going to die in the show, but maybe there's a percentage. And they dropped this trailer. If they drop Loki, great. We'll cover that next week, or someone will. Who knows? But so with this trailer, I think what I keep saying, this is we're gonna get in this with Blue Beetle, right? At the end of the show, and just the whole year, right? You talk about box office and things. You look at Barbie this weekend having massive projections. Not everything's failing at the box office. There's just certain things are not doing the greatest, right? Um, and what I think with this trailer is just like the first one, it looks like a good time. It looks like a movie I'm going to enjoy. I liked the first Captain Marvel. I have enjoyed it less on oh my god, subsequential viewings. There you go. I've added a Q and a K in there. I've enjoyed it less, and I think I'm not sure if that was a hype or there's just been more errors. I go, oh, I didn't like this choice, So, but I still like that was one of my early trash told you. I said Brie Larson should be Captain Marvel. I've been saying that on the podcast before Comic Con happened that year. It did great. Didn't love Miss Marvel, but Amon's fantastic in the role. Monica Rambeau, that's fine so far. I like Tanera Paris and other things a lot more. It's not her, it's a writing standpoint, but this movie could get me to love her. This movie looks like a good time. It looks like a fun adventure with these three girls bonding, building connection. It looks more kind of like how they would preview Guardians 1 and 2, how the last Thors have been, where it's not so much I'm saying it's going to be in those tones, because Guardians got really serious and Thor, obviously Taika, very out there. I think it's more so that this is a movie that, hey, if you want to go have a fun time in the theaters, this is the one to go see. Now, with this trailer, to me, that's all it gives me. We got to see the first trailer. The villain was kind of non-existent. We got the villain in this trailer, not doing much for me, and it sucks because I really like this actress. She's in Black Mirror. She's been in some other things that I've always enjoyed her in. Tom Hiddleston's wife and the mother of his child. So that's all cool to have that connection. So I'm rooting for her, but it's just what is she? She's a destroyer of all the worlds we love. It's like, all right. Now, not always do you need, because we talk about this all the time, right? And I could talk about, if Brent's listening to this, Logan, for example. That's a movie where the villains are very just all right, but they have to be all right in my opinion because the focus is on Laura, Logan, and Xavier. That's not a film where you need this big villain. So I think that's what this is going to be. This actress is great, so I hope that they can at least give her something to work with. And even then, like I know I'm more in the camp now, or like I agree with some people, but I definitely was in the camp where when Bale was in Love and Thunder, I was like, oh, that's a waste, that's a waste. I think he had the best scenes in that movie, and they used him well. I think it could have used a little more, yeah. But what I always would compare it to is Heath's Joker. Now, I'm not saying it's on the same level. No, the writing there was much better. But what I'm saying is that Heath's Joker is not a bunch in The Dark Knight, right? But he has a huge impact. I was fine with that work. Hela and Kate Blanchett most of her time was on Asgard, talk with Carl Urban, all these things, right? So it just depends what do they do with this villain? If it's going to be a generic, same thing. Guardians is a perfect example. Ronan. I'm fine with Ronan just being a fine generic villain. Maybe this is what this is going to be. Okay, but that's where I go, okay. On that front, it's not there. And all they keep showing me, and I guess that's what the movie is, right? But I just feel like they're really banking on people loving this switching concept, which I think is fun, but I think it's like a fun aspect to have. I feel like the marketing of the trailer 1 and 2, especially, it's either them switching or them hugging it out and bonding. And I think if this were and talking about like, so the one side was like my enjoyment of the trailer. I thought it was good, fine. I'm going to like it. I like Nia DaCosta's director. This looks like it's going to be very probably middle tier Marvel. Maybe it could surprise me, but that's what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be middle tier Marvel, introduce some of these characters a bit more to a wider audience, build the bond on the Marvels. I don't think we'll get a Marvels 3 because I don't know if this is good. I don't think it's going to do that well. That's we'll get into business in a second. Yeah, maybe it can surprise me, but more, even like Thor Ragnarok and Thor Love and Thunder, which are like, good time movies for me. I have problem with some of the comedy in both of them. They're more the middle of the pack, right? And for me, those kind of have a barometer, or you got to be a very, very good time. Like Guardians, it does hit you in the heart at the end, right? But I'd say 75% of that movie is the good time. And that's like, okay, this is the perfection of what a good time movie sort of deal is, right? That's what I just saw at Barbie, where that has emotional stuff too. If you can be that just fun, enjoyable, smiling ear to ear movie. So maybe if all the jokes hit and I love the chemistry, I do like Sam Jackson's Nick Fury, despite my problems with Secret Invasion. So maybe all this stuff can get it to a point where I'm really enjoying it. But there just doesn't look like there's anything to sink my teeth in story wise here. I think this is primarily based on, hey, do you like these three characters? Then you're going to love this. And luckily I do. I don't know if I'm going to love it, but luckily I do. So I'm the camp. But for the business side and for what's happening, and, because this was spawning a couple weeks ago where I co-host Marvel Alliance again. Shout out to that. Go check out that episode. It's great to be back with Chris. We started that show together, and now Brent and him and brought to brighter pastures, except for those damn hashtags. Oof, those hashtags. But I threw out a fact or fiction on there. That's one of the segments there, and I said that Captain Marvel is going to make less than 60 million opening weekend, and people might be like, "That's fucking crazy," because the first one made like 130, 140, somewhere in there, right? But the reason I threw out that number is because we've seen other movies that to me are bigger. To me, The Flash, I know you can throw out Captain Marvel, but that definitely was in that Endgame hype. To me, The Flash with Michael Keaton come back, Ben Affleck, all these other factors, a Supergirl, to me I would pick The Flash doing better. And it didn't, and that opened under 60. Indiana Jones, which you ask me, you can hear when I even said on the retro that I just didn't feel there was not a need, but I didn't feel that the GA was, I never hear people talk about Indiana Jones. And it did surprise me where I had people in my regular life that are GM members brought up Michael Keaton to me because they know I'm a comic book guy, host a podcast, brought that up and like, oh, I can't wait to see that. Clearly they chose not to go see it and wait till home, but I didn't hear that with Indiana Jones. But still, massive franchise, massive character, massive actor, the send-off, Disney machine behind it, under 60 million. So if those to me did under 60 million, this could do that. And that's where I think the tough thing is with relying on this trailer, because the trailer is mostly just action. It's a lot of flying, it's a lot of bursting, it's a lot of colorful, it's talking about light, it's the switching, it's having a good time, and lots of action. And I think it's based on, do you like all these characters? And I'm not comparing it has to be this good, but I've been saying this a lot lately, and I'm not the one that takes credit for it. I can't remember some Twitter, I think I retweeted, some person I don't even know. Someone else retweeted, or it was on my For You timeline at some point, but they made a good point, and I'm completely with it, where the reason one of the reasons the Avengers was so successful is just because, not because it was all these MacGuffins, not because it was like, oh, we've been building up to this for 10 years. No. There was little Easter eggs and crumbs along the way, sure, to get us that point, but really it was just a bunch of 4 characters, 6 if you count the other 2, put together. We like them. Let's see this movie. The thing is, I don't know how much people like these characters, and not that they dislike them. I'm not talking about the stupid red eye thumbnail people. No, I'm not. I'm talking about fans that are level-headed people and people that are just in the general audience, right? Captain Marvel, people can make that case. Go, well, she's part of a $1 billion movie, So was Aquaman. True, but again, that's the height of Endgame. That and also is the height what we've talked about lately on Trash told you, the comic book era golden age. The 2016 to 2019 when you could pretty much just put out anything and make a profit, make a bunch of $1 billion unless you're BVS. Sorry, don't mean to take a shot at anybody, but come on, should have made $1 billion. Let's be honest here. But in that era, you're printed money, right? With all these comic book movies. We're in a lull now, and we've seen multiple. We're going to talk about Blue Beetle in a bit. We're in a lull right now. And as I don't even say it's a lull, it's just the audience is more picky. And we talked about this today in our GOA chat too, where because the Blue Beetle projections, and again, we'll talk about that. Maybe I'll make that the second topic because I'm kind of referring to that. But movies have changed. And I guess I'll get into the DC brand later on, but they can't be as high. Maybe they don't have much run. The streaming goes a lot quicker and stuff. So there is a new norm, but you also don't want to be at the bottom of that norm, and you also don't want to be, I suppose, the great comic book depression. Still up. You're an Easter, man. What are you doing? But I guess it's summer. You're doing good. But thank you for being in the chat. I hope you enjoyed Barbie. I read your Letterboxd review, and I think I agree with your critique, but I still didn't agree with it enough to take down a star. You can check out my Letterboxd. The rankings are there. It's I'm waiting until Monday, but it was a good time. People are just picky, and especially now, it's the thing with the Flash, and I don't think Disney will do this, hopefully not, but the Flash bombs, and they go, okay, whatever, let's just put on streaming. Sit on it for a bit, retrain the audience a bit that they're going to have to go to the movie theaters, and if not, you missed your chance. And then release it on DVD. Don't do the fucking digital thing where then I see a bunch of people just literally tweeting out the movie HD all over Twitter, like the full movie, because they can just go and fucking torrent it. To me, it should be the other way around of and if you're doing physical media, do the media and then digital. So it doesn't make sense to me. So start sitting on it. But people are getting more picky, and they go, oh, we can wait to sit at home, and there's so much on streaming. And there is a, hey, I got so much to catch up on. That's me the same way with the strike. It's like, well, I got tons of shows and movies to watch. And the other thing is just, it does still come down to, I don't care whatever, because I know there's some people, some of my mutuals argue, oh, DC brand's not damaged, or this comic book fatigue's not a thing. Both are true and not true to an extent, but at the same time, Marvel, definitely is not the king it once was. So I think that is some like Marvel brand damage a little bit, and it's not impervious to bombing or not performing well. That is still another factor. The idea of hang on, water brain got a really dry throat there. The idea that streaming and pricing of movies and stuff, that's the reason people are seeing movies. That's true. That's some, and that's majority. But when you got Mario making $1 billion, when you got Barbie that's supposed to have, maybe the biggest opening of the year, people will still go fork out the money for something they're really interested in. And if you're not doing well, that shows the audience at this point is not interested enough to make the time. And to me, that is a branding thing or a previewing thing. And that's where with this preview, I don't think this does anything to get people excited. It's a very forgettable, like using Beastie Boys, like fuck, man. They like so many movies have used this goddamn song in trailers. It's almost as bad as I Need a Hero or something like that. It just feels fan made, and not in the way that the footage. No, there's some CGI that's a little questionable. There's some, I agree with everybody that I like Captain Marvel's suit a lot, but I hate that it just seems like it's even more like decolorized now. It's just like, man, get some fucking colors flowing in these things, I just don't think it's going to grab people. And I think it's a movie that people are going to watch, like the trailer they're going to watch, and they're going to choose to talk to their friends because this is not a comic book movie they're seeing. So I'm sticking with, I don't think it's going to make over 60 million. I think this is going to be another lower tier performance for Marvel. Now, we have to see, because we're going to talk about a few topics here that go into it. For me, I was saying they should delay it. I said this because as of right now, let's say the strike goes on till, the fall or new year, there's a good chance that some of those, like Deadpool had 2 months to film. There's a good chance that, let's just say whatever happens, we get in the scenario where you only have Captain America about Brave New World, right? You have other shows, you have the animated shows, you have some live stream shows, sure. But as Bob Iger's been saying, those are hurting the brand, which, I semi agree with at some points as far as just the quality of them, right? And maybe that has made it's fine to push out a bunch of content, but it also has to be great. And when it's been middling, I feel like we're going to do a bread and butter on that about the just Disney Plus overall effects. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for the big box office hits again, right? And all you have is Captain Marvel or Captain America. Sure, it's 2 Captain movies, and they dropped that trailer today in November, whatever. But I still think that because it goes the week before is Dune, and then it goes Captain Marvel, and then I always keep forgetting the fucking third movie after that. Oh my goodness, I don't want to look it up again because I've done this like twice now, of like seeing Hunger Games, which surprisingly, because like I said, there's a lot of young people in my crowd, lots of high schoolers. When that trailer came on, thank you, S Bubs. Hunger Games. That was the crowd. They were, whoever put in Hunger Games trailers in front of Barbie, very smart, because that got a lot of. They didn't react to Blue Beetle. They didn't react to Turtles, but fucking Hunger Games. That's the thing. I was watching. The GA is always a fun thing. Watching these trailers. Blue Beetle comes up and it's some girl behind me. Like I said, probably a high schooler. Goes, "Oh, is this the new Spider-Man movie?" Whoa. But that I think has a chance of doing good. And like SBub says, if Dune moves, I think it stays. Absolutely. And we're going to talk about that in the next conversation here, because it's a kind of a twofer there. But one of them has to move. Even then, I still think that you could move it to next year. If you fuck whatever Dune's doing, fuck whatever Hunger Games doing, I guess you could own November. But at the same time, this is a great point people have made. You're going to do a press tour without Amon Villani. Now, of course, people are like, oh, she's not fucking Brad Pitt. She's not, Tom Cruise, Angelina Jones. I know, weird way to put them together again. But true, she's not a name. But I feel with Miss Marvel, and especially the 3 of them together, today I watched, which was very fun, a Wired interview, and they do an actor or actresses, they sit there at the board and they pull like the Google results, like top search thing is like, oh, what's Christopher Nolan's favorite food? It was him and Downey. All those things are always a fucking home run. They're so fun. If you could do that with those 3, like all the marketing they're missing out on, if they do a Hot Ones, whatever, just 3 of them do the market together. And Amon herself can just create so much fun and energy and buzz, so you might want to go support her. Oh, I really like her. Yeah, right. And no, I suppose you're right. Disney does have Wish in November. That's what I would keep. I would keep Wish in November, close to Christmas, family movie. Bump the Marvels, especially Captain America was already supposed to be in July, right? Or August, I think it was. So fucking make Captain Marvel, the Marvels, in May, have America be in the August, and then if you get one of those movies like a Deadpool or Thunderbolts done, maybe you can get it for that December slot. So I still think whatever the movies do, they should push it because it's going to be a reduced promotion schedule with the stars. And if things are crammed, obviously some things can move. But if they're crammed, next year might not be. You might have a whole bunch of time by yourself. So I definitely think they should delay it. I think it's something that they should go, somewhere else. Let's see. Wish is a classic Disney princess movie, musical, 100th anniversary. It ain't moving. Yeah, there you go. And that's where, and if it does, it's put on Disney Plus on Christmas. Yeah, I could see that. But that's why I say that's the one to keep. Absolutely. So let's take our first ad break and we'll talk about why, it might stay because some of these other delays. So we'll be right back. And we are back. So yes, there's a report that came out today while I was in the theaters. But fucking man, it was so weird. The place I was in, like, it's never happened this way before, but is it a different? I haven't. Blah. I live in Kelowna. There's West Kelowna. You got to get to a bridge. That has to do with some of our story when we talk about some of these movies being swapped in reviews. So I don't go there that much anymore. Went there today, and there's some theaters that are just a fucking dead zone in there. Got no, like, I had to tell Evan, like, oh, I'm gonna be home later. I'm seeing a movie later. No text would go through. I had to run out, phone during the previews, run back in. Whole ordeal. But I was getting like notification of like the ones I have on, and discussing film is one because I got to keep with the news, and that's what the report Variety put out. And I should read it. Let me actually read it on air because I have not read it all. I've just seen the headlines, but pretty much the headlines are in what you can take away mostly from this, and I think it was from Variety, from this report. Yeah, let's see here. Dune 2 eyes to push to 2024. Warner Bros. Considers new dates for Color Purple and Aquaman 2. Oh boy, sorry. I hope I'm not getting sick because the girls are just getting over getting sick and fun times. But that's where it started. That it sounds like Dune. This to me sounds like one of these rumors that it's fucking happening. Like, it's one of these things that it does, like, this is the prep. It's one of these eyeing or in talks or in negotiations. You get all these things. This is so funny too. Like, I see this on the side. I saw this discussing film thing. Joker 2 cinematographer never even met the real Lady Gaga on set. Called her Lee. Her assistant was like, call her Lee. Oh man. But anyways, so Dune 2 looks like it's moving. I guess for me, I'm kind of all for the pushes. Like, okay, personally, I don't want the pushes, but they have, and I see what you bring up there, I suppose, and that's absolutely it. Dune, and this is probably why, because I say I don't want the move personally. I think Dune can still do all right there, but at the same time too, for promotion, if they're on strike, you got an all-star cast. They can't say shit about this movie, so maybe wait. And it's going to cost Warner Brothers more money, and maybe they'll actually get the writers and actors paid and get this AI shit out of here. But in November to December, they got Dune, Aquaman, Color Purple, and Wonka. And we said this when we talked about Wonka. Why the fuck do they have 3 movies releasing in December? Why? If any of them, I would keep Aquaman. It's funny, that's the one. It's tough because I don't know. I guess I'm of a two mind. Color Purple, definitely you can push. They might be trying to see that as like a awards contender, and that's why it's for the December slot. But maybe they're all tough, right? If it's award contender, you push it to next year. If it's not, then you just release it and see how it does. But then if it does become awards contender and you lose that momentum, you feel dumb. So that one is tough. But either way, let's say they want to push that. And then Wonka and Aquaman both to me have reasons not to push. Other than they're all together, which is dumb. That's the main reason why they should spread out. And even Dune, right? Dune to me is still kind of fine. If you got Dune and one other movie in December, you're good to go. But that seems to be the one that they got their eyes on. They even said in this article that is looking like it's going to get the shove. And who knows what that it's 2024, right? So who knows how early or late that is. Um, for Anka, oh, jeez Louise. Sorry, everybody. For Wonka and Aquaman. Aquaman the Pro, keeping it there is the first movie was in December last time, right? And it made a bunch of money. Movies and Superman Mike pointing this out to us that since 2015, I think there's only been one movie that was not a winter $1 billion movie, which is a fucking crazy stat. And even if it's not a billion, if it's making 700 or 800, that's great. Because Aquaman 2, that's in this week that came out too, that I haven't talked about, but that came out. They're having we've talked about this a while back, but again, it was just another report of they're having lots of issues with this movie. They did their third reshoots. They've pretty much not. They haven't confirmed, but it's confirmed out there that the Batman stuff's not in there. So man, you got to think about Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, probably not cheap actors. They literally brought them into film deleted scenes. Just I hope we get to see them and then make some use of them, but they were taken out so you don't set up a further universe. That's another pro of getting Aquaman out there. It's just, hey, let's move the fuck away from this universe. Let's keep going so we can get. I think the faster you can get DC stuff out, the better. Obviously, Blue Beetle, talk about next, not tracking the greatest. Aquaman, who knows? People could still go see it because they love Momoa and they liked the first one. I would keep that, but Willy Wonka, I would say it's the perfect kind of family movie, right? It's that whimsical. It's based off of old film. It's a prequel, beloved character or idea with the Chocolate Factory or just Willy Wonka. So I could see why they keep that, but at the same time, that was the whole pitch, and even myself with Aquaman, Bumblebee, and Mary Poppins. Everyone thought Mary Poppins was going to get the run, and it didn't. It was Aquaman. I don't want to say Mary Poppins would have made $1 billion, but everyone thought that will be the winter movie. And I said this just like Indy. I was like, I don't know if people care about Mary Poppins. I still picked it to win because it's like, it's so classic, so many people will show up. I just don't know those people. But it didn't eat it. It just did well, but it didn't win it. That wasn't the story of that winter. So even the same thing that sure Wonka is the more family-oriented movie, the first Aquaman and I feel like the second one are going to be enough that you can go take your family to see. It's a joyous, fun adventure. So I don't really know which one to push, but if you were to ask me, James Gunn or Zazoff, whoever, Michael DeLuca and Pam Madden, sit me down like, hey, what are we pushing? I would go with Wonka and Color Purple. If you want Color Purple to be a awards contender, it fucking sucks, but bite the bullet, release it closer next year. I know that sucks, but you can say, hey, because the strike, it's going to come out at some point, but we want to do it for the best. If you watch it and feel like it's not a awards contender, then you just release it, right? They'd probably do some shitty thing like Time with Black. Not that's a shitty thing, but just like they'd make it very cringy. Time with like Black History Month and stuff like that. There's your stuff like that for the night. Probably said it about 3 or 4 times, but I digress. So that one I say you push if it's great, push it the whole next year. Sucks, but it's happened. We did that in COVID multiple times. Wonka, give it a March, April, May-ish date. You know, that's more of a gamble. Put it in a month where you are getting Captain America Brave New World just to see what's going on. Aquaman's the one to keep there, but they look like they're talking about moving it. So we'll see what they do. Let's see. I think if the Meg 2 does bad numbers in China, that'll tell how Aquaman might do. Aquaman 2 might do there. Yeah, it's been interesting as far as China was big box office earner. We had COVID. They started releasing a lot of their own movies out there. And since we've come back, I think like Avatar did very well. But I remember with the Batman, I thought it was going to make break $1 billion. And a lot of other people did because it was that thing that the China release date got confirmed like a week before. And myself was like, oh, fuck, that's going to push the edge. Here we go. Since COVID, China's not been the bread and butter as it used to be. So I don't think I'll fully agree with you. I suppose that if the Meg 2 does bad, that's the end of Aquaman 2. But it won't help. It will be a more sign in your side, like court ass bubs where, okay, they didn't come out for the Meg, which did extremely well in China. They probably won't come out for this. It's just that box office all over has been very weird this year. But I digress. You could easily be right there, and we'll see when the Meg comes out and then Aquaman. So that's the talks right now that are talking about pushing, Aquaman, Color Purple, and Wonka. Sounds like they're not pushing Blue Beetle, which is it's interesting. I know Fanboy Clay and our GHI was not a fan of that, but I agree. Chris did say, and I agree with him, that I think it's just too late to pull the plug in their minds. I don't think so. I think it depends. If you want to get to new DCU, then yeah, just get it out there. But with these ones, uh, let's see, just even see right now quickly. Like I said, Color Purple, I think that depends all on their confidence in it. Now, you could release it in March, you could release it in February if they wanted to. Um, Fucking Everything Everywhere All at Once, I'm pretty sure was a March, April movie, right? So if your movie is good enough and quality enough, which is subjective, but if it is, you can run the gamut and get to the other year. Um, with this, like I said, that's up to them. Dune, that's what I'm looking at right now. So next year, I'm just kind of looking at the spring, March, whatever month, because that's when it really happened. Like that's when we could get a foreseeable release here, right? Fall Guy, that's that David Leitch or David Leitch. I think it is. Yeah, David Leitch movie with Gosling, and it's a stunt man, a bounty hunter, which sounds like Drive, but I don't think that's happening. Kung Fu Panda 4, okay, maybe. Quiet Place Day 1, okay, maybe. Godzilla times Kong, the New Empire. I think it's like a 50-50. I think they skipped Comic Con, but I think we've heard a few times that like, oh, it's going well production. Disney Snow White March 22nd. I think that's going well. So there you go. Mickey 17 and Beyond the Spider-Verse probably both not coming out then. So scratch March, but here's your Dune month. April, M. Night Shyamalan thriller, which they do well, but they always have a barometer, right? Lord of the Rings, the War for Rohirrim. It's animated film. It's gonna do fine. And then after that, that's really it. There's a movie called Abducting Abigail. May is Deadpool. So what I say is you lock it down. I don't care. You release it the same weekend as the M. Night Shyamalan thriller. You're good to go. Bob's your uncle. If they were to delay Aquaman, same thing. I think they don't delay both. And if they do, then it's a widespread. Then Aquaman, and I guess here's another pro for Aquaman getting delayed is we've heard so much about these reshoots and there's like a new ending and yet they say they're very confident in it supposedly, but sure, they're very confident in Flash. If they need more time to fix it up or have more ideas, then you could push Aquaman back even more. I think they shouldn't. I think if this is not continuing and Momoa's not continuing, just fucking get it out there, do your best, and make your money. And there you go. Abducting Abigail is that Melissa Barrow Scream Director's movie that I was talking about. Yeah, okay. I wonder if they're done filming, but okay, that's April. Yeah, there's been some hits like Evil Dead, right? But it's just, is her name and the name of the movie and the pre is gonna be good enough? I don't know. And maybe Dune drops there and just screws it up, but we'll see. So those are my predictions. Dune and Aquaman, maybe spread them out. Maybe one is in March or April, like we talked about, and then one's in the summer. Make Aquaman the Summer Man movie, and then make Dune your big spring fall release, right? Color Purple, to me that depends on the quality. And Blue Beetle is doing his Blue Beetle things, and that's what we're going to talk about now. Where Blue Beetle and just kind of DC in general, and then we'll call it. So, like I said, it'll be a smaller one. But Blue Beetle, now this is long range tracking. Long range tracking can be not the greatest with the Flash. It was very high. Now you could argue that maybe as time went on, people got less interested, or this long range tracking is wrong. But I don't think it's going to be this number. I think it will be higher, but the number going around right now for Blue Beetle's opening weekend is $12 to $17 million. I'm going to take a drink. What do you think about that? And actually, we'll take an ad break. And we're back. 12 to $17 million. Again, I don't think it's going to do that. I think it will go higher, but not great long range tracking as we talked about. This was the same site, The Flash. They were the ones that gave it like the 80 to 120 or 140 tracking and then drop. I don't think it's going to be that, but that is the scary thing where what if this is the fucking high end of the projections, right? And and that's in the article where there was no talks of Blue Beetle. And I do agree with what Chris was saying. I think the train has left the station. And I think, unfortunately, for Clay and other people that want to support it, I think, of course, get out there, see it, support. I'll be there. I'm gonna take Gwen to it. I don't know about Logan, maybe too much, but like they got 2 tickets for me. I think she will enjoy that. She's a Power Rangers kid right now, so it's in there. And as I've said with the Marvels, when I watched the Blue Beetle trailer, the second one, not so much. We did review that last week. I think that they shot themselves in the foot there. It felt a little too generic. The first one at least felt like I can have a good time with this. So I'm still hoping I can have a good time with it. But I think it's a reverse where at least Aquaman they would delay and like, okay, well, we got this reshoot, so we get more in there. It's $1 billion movie, so let's see if we can recapture that magic. Well, Blue Beetle, I think for them, because Chris is right that the train has left the station, but you could delay it at any point, right? Fucking No Time to Die was delayed like 2 weeks before it was supposed to come out, right? 2 to 3 weeks. Like tickets were on sale. So you could make a push and go, no, like we're going to go further back. And to me, the business wise, it might be smarter because there might not be much out next year. Maybe, in August, you just move something else, put Wonka in there and continue on. But I think that they have seen, and who knows, but I think they've seen probably the tracking, and maybe it's something similar. This maybe it's a little higher, a little lower, whatever it may be. This is a situation where let's just get it out there and move on. And I don't care what James Gunn says about Zolo being like, oh yeah, he'll be in the DCU and he's our Blue Beetle. Sure, but does that mean he's gonna be a main character? Does it mean he's gonna be in Justice League? I don't know about that. So Borderlands highest grossing movie of 2024. Yes, that did get a date. S Bubs is right. It's coming out, I think it's in August or April or something. So I will not be on that review. I'll watch it at home, but I do not care for the Borderlands. Not that I don't like hate them, just never my bag, baby. Um, but back to Blue Beetle. They might just look at it, see the tracking, go, fuck, let's just get through this, move along, get Blue Beetle out, and then start focusing on the next DCU thing. Even Aquaman, if it's on the DCU, I could see them be like, well, let's focus on this because it was $1 billion movie, the first one, and let's see if we can regroup half of that or, 60%, whatever it may be. Um, that's tough. And right now, the long range tracking 2 is for Strays to beat it. And that just goes to my theory of the Marvels doing under 60, Ant-Man Quantumania, having that big drop if Blue Beetle does bad. To me, it's another sign that people are being picky. And whatever you feel about Blue Beetle, to me, I feel like these trailers have felt very, you like superheroes? Come watch this. In a time where not everybody's saying they love every superhero. They're picking and choosing what superhero. Even Batman, which was supposed to be like the foolproof plan for Flash, returning Keaton didn't work out. They're probably like, okay, that doesn't work out here. So why should Blue Beetle? And who knows? And this is what I was talking about with Katie and, check out their shows at GUA and stuff. She was saying that, well, it could have a good international. And I agree it could. But the problem is the domestic's going to be so low that it's just going to kind of bounce out. Usually if you have like a good domestic run and then a booming international, it's like, man, you got a hit on your hands. You never know. I don't know if all Puerto Ricans are going to go out and see this. I don't know if... Oh, I lost my train of thought there. I don't know if this sells anyone that's not already a fan. I don't know how it does. We were talking about this in the Discord too, as far as August, for the most part, exceptions to the rule. Guardians, the first one, Suicide Squad 2016. August lots of times is a dumping ground, and the fact Blue Beetle's there tracking what it is, it feels like that. It feels like it's just something we're going to shutter on the rod, get through it, and let's move forward. Hopefully word of mouth is good. Hopefully, we all enjoy the movie and that's a good time. Hopefully it does well, because the same reason I want to see, so many people, because now the strikes have happened, right? And people talk about box office, and if you're talking about, oh, I want this to do, I'm like, why? It's just going the money of so-and-so. Yes, absolutely, that does happen. But at the same time, you are supporting like something like Greta Gerwig. If she were to come out and just fail, that's it for her. Because she's a woman, they'll put her in fucking director's jail, which happens to men directors as well too, where director jail is, oh, you're still a director, but no one's offering you big movies. You're doing lots of episode show, which can still be a great career. It's just that, and that even if it's a great career by choice, but that's why it's called film or director prison, because or director jail or film jail, right? Yeah, movie jail, whatever, some sort of jail. It's because you directed something bad or you had a big bomb, so you got to be locked up for a bit and wait your turn again. And that's where Greta Gerwig and some females, they might get one turn and then you're done. So that's why I want some of these to do well. That's why I would want Blue Beetle to do well. So this community, that if they want to see this hero, they can get more of the character, more of their culture. But I just don't think it's going to be. I was talking about this, ES Clage in our chat, same thing. He said he might just go buy a ticket because he feels bad. He said the same thing I did. I hear no one talking about this movie. I don't like I said at Barbie, there was no interest. I looked around because like, oh, Blue Beetle, let's see. It's a younger guy. He's a good looking guy. Nope, no one gave a shit. Like there's people watching, of course, but if like more people are talking, doing their own thing, so that wasn't a great sign. Um, August is tough. It's just people are going back to school. Parents got to pay for daycares. Unless you're somehow breakout hit like Guardians or Suicide Squad, which I couldn't believe, but I think that's a lot just to do with the Harley Joker pairing, and everyone getting really excited about that. And there's a couple other, but it's to me an exception to the rules because usually August right now it was always August and January. August is definitely better to release in January. January still for the most part is that type of month, but it's a little bit better, and there is some wiggle room. So yeah, it's as Bob says, with so many reshoot, was his Aquaman budget got to be? Oh, I'd have to see what the movie one is, but I'm gonna say at least 250 plus, right? I imagine a third sets of reshoots, already expensive movie CGI, and it's funny because the reports are like, oh, James Wan was so impressed, the shoot went so well, took only about 4 days. And then other press like this is the fucking like he hates this job. He hates doing this. He's so done with it. And if he is done with it's best to pack up, I guess. Again, it's a tough call to make, but yeah, I think Blue Beetle. I'm sticking with the 20 to 25. If someone were to ask me, I'm going to go 24, just under the 25's opening weekend. I think it will do higher than that. Obviously, people can't. Um, I don't think there's going to be any big cameos, no interference that way, so I don't think that's going to happen. Director's doing his best. He's on the carpet in Puerto Rico promoting it, so we'll see. But the fact that long range tracking not the greatest, Shrey's is tracking better than that. It's not looking good for your boy Blue Beetle. Anybody that is that part of the Blue Beetle battalion or whatever it's called, right? Um, you do you. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for tonight. A little smaller one. Talk about some Blue Beetle box office, which not looking greatest. Talked about some Aquaman 2, which is maybe not looking greatest. And then talked about the Marvels, which is looking fun. But is the box office looking the greatest? I don't know. So thank you very much to everyone tuning this mini episode. Again, a couple days from now, you'll get your reviews of Oppenheimer, Barbie. We're sorry you have to wait, but we think we'll have some fun ones, some good discussion, and it will not be boring. Everyone, have a good weekend.